Sewer Gators is pretty good fun. This was released in 2022. It's written and directed by Paul Dale, and we have a cast including Manon Pages, Aston Naulty, Kenny Bellau, Sophia Brazda, Paul Dale, Charles Early, Austin Frosch, Son Phelan, and Carter Simoneaux. And I apologise if I've mispronounced any of those names. This is a comedy horror. I will say the horror is not really there. It's not a particularly scary film. Unless maybe you're phobic of alligators, in which case, yeah, it might seem quite scary. But it's silly fun. The performances are great. A lot of them are really over the top in a way that's really, really funny. And ultimately, I enjoyed this. The premise is quite simple. It's about this town in Louisiana where alligators are coming up through the toilets, biting people on the butts and, well, obviously killing them. And there's a little bit more of a story going on. There's a festival happening, and we do have a pretty decent, well-fleshed out narrative. And obviously the main focus is the comedy surrounding the alligators, but we also have some comedy with a lot of the dialogue between characters. As I said, some of the performances are over the top in a really funny, entertaining way. And I thought this was really good fun. I love horror, and when it's done right, I really love a good comedy horror, because comedy is one of my favourites. Horror is absolutely my favourite. Combining them both, it worked really, really well. I'm not scared of alligators. I'm in the UK. They're not exactly a threat. I think if I lived somewhere where there were a lot of them, yeah, maybe I probably would be. But the alligator aspect wasn't likely to scare me. But even with that in mind, I don't really think there is a lot of horror in this, unless, as I said, you are really scared of alligators, in which case the premise alone probably will make you feel a little bit sick. That's not to say I want to be bitten on the butt by alligators. It's not that I don't fear that at all, if it were a real threat, but certainly it's not a genuine everyday fear for me. But it works well within the context of the film. I still enjoyed that part of the narrative, and the comedy was brilliant. We had some great performances, and ultimately I really thoroughly enjoyed it. If you're looking for a funny film that's got a horror element to it, then Sewer Gators is definitely one to go for. I thought it was very well written, great performances, really well done, and ultimately a really entertaining, fun way to spend just over an hour. It's not horrendously long, but I think the length was pretty ideal to tell the story, and I have no complaints. Yes, it's maybe a little rough around the edges here and there, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's funny, it works well, the concept is good. I'm not scared of alligators, but if I were, then yeah, maybe I'd be a little intimidated by that aspect. And all things considered, I thought Sewer Gators was pretty good fun.